government to facilitate innovation. How do you see a company like Hitachi might have to respond to the new environment when we are really talking about big change? All the examples that Hirotaka used, Takeuchi Sasei used, they were small companies, many of them unknown companies, which responded to the unfortunate situation in Tohoku. We did not hear about big companies too much. What's happening there? What is the corporate culture? How is it evolving?
Well, it's a very interesting question. And Hitachi is founded 100 years ago. Hitachi is a completely technology-driven company, and continue to dedicate itself to the infrastructure. It's a kind of our core ideology. So Hitachi is not a big name in the US or global marketplace, but behind it, Hitachi is one of the biggest, most diversified corporation, because we have the 380,000 people working in global marketplace, and almost 900 subsidiary companies. It's much bigger than Toshiba, Sony, and in terms of corporate market cap, it's one of the biggest company in the world. So Hitachi is big, but technology driven. But we are struggling through how to change ourselves right now. Well, my understanding is we have to look at the history of Japan. We opened up company 130 years ago. We changed from the feudal society to the Western style country, and then we try to learn things Western. Assiduously learn things Western. And then we won the Russo-Japanese War, the China-Japanese War. We are part of the winner camp of the World War I. So military force, gained the power. And then we entered into the World War II, Pacific War. We lost everything. And then this time, we changed ourselves from military to economy. And then we made an awful lots of effort to catch up with Western world, and then we made it. Tokyo Olympics game, with the help from the Korean War, by the way, but we amassed the economic value. And then sometimes we refer to Japanese as a number one, as a logo of Harvard universities. And then again, we had some level of complacency. And then we had the Tohoku area, so we are, history repeats itself. We are now finished, cycle 2, and then we are entering into the cycle 3. Well, what I thought is, this is also the case with Japan. Hitachi. We invented lots of technology, and then as the company grows bigger, salary went up, lots of people developed the complacency, and then now we are trying to make ourselves globalize. But to my understanding is Japanese businessmen generally does not catch live up to the global standard. So truly what we do right now is we produce truly a global businessman or technologist to know the global or the needs of the marketplace. So the surviving coming the marketplace for Hitachi is to promote globalization, and in terms of human resources, send people to have them immersed to the local cultures, and then we came up with local needs, and then we established local research R&D and the establishments, and then have them contribute to the local society. This is the thing that I think Hitachi will take from now on.
So that's leads to a very important question I have in my mind, and then I would like the audience to raise the question. It is meant for all three of you. It's a very difficult question. I myself is personally struggling with for the last 5 years. And let me tell you how I see, like to position the question. As you know, I basically grew up in the world of McKinsey and Company. And I went to Japan in the early 1980s as a management consultant working with McKinsey. And when I used to go to Japanese companies, Homegrown Tapeshi, Honda, then you remember Mitsubishi, I felt they were very different from what I saw in GE or in Chase in the US or European companies. But they're very competitive. There's a beautiful atmosphere in the company, the family feeling. There's always a beautiful way of building consensus. And as I've grown older, 30 years have passed, I often ask the question, maybe the injection of Western concept in the Japanese processes was not good for Japan. Because Japan lost its competitiveness. Japan lost its originality. There was a different kind of process at work which led to creation of products and services which was absolutely superb. But as Japan tried to take the portfolio approach, which we McKinsey used to talk about, or talk about a lot of different techniques which were Western products, and Western business products are obviously a reflection of its culture. Putting into a new culture often creates indigestion. And I'm asking, do you feel that happened? Bruce, you have seen it from outside, and people like Yoshinori-san, you have seen it from inside, Kurosawa-san, you have seen it from academic world. How true it is?
Well, let me offer my personal observation on this. I think I would disagree with your premise here, but I felt from my own experience, having worked through the 70s and the 80s and 90s, that probably the impact of Japanese business culture on America was more powerful than the other way around. And I think Japan's success during the 1980s terrified a lot of American corporations because they looked at this business model that seemed to be a much more powerful, more innovative, more productive model. And I know that in Exxon, senior management started to think, we are very complacent in many areas. And we just think that the way we've been doing things in the past will continue. And the company underwent some real revolutionary changes in terms of the way they look at things. Now, some of these extended beyond, I think, the Japanese model. And what has happened in a number of corporations in the United States is that, you had mentioned earlier when we were talking about Beretta, and some of the other companies that are hundreds of years old. To some extent, the revolution's gone in the other direction, where corporations or pieces of corporations appear, they last for a period of time while they're useful, and then they disappear. And corporate combinations change, and they come and they go. And that's a very uncomfortable, it's also a very powerful way of doing things. Now, I can't really comment on the impact of Western culture on Japan, but I would say that the impact of Japanese culture on American corporate business was quite profound, and I think very lasting.
How about Yoshinori-san?
Because I've been working in
U.S.-Japan joint venture, for a while, for the past 5 years or so, GE, Hitachi, nuclear energy. And so from the inside, I know the difference between the two companies. Well, Hitachi learns a lot from GE. He introduced American system, American big company system in terms of accounting, financing, technology development. Everything came to the Hitachi in the past, and then we Hitachi modified in a Japanese way, and then now we established a joint venture, Hitachi GE Nuclear Energy, and then again we meet again, and then I'm surprised at the difference between the two companies, okay, in terms of culture, in terms of priority, prioritizing product development, in terms